Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Council meeting for August 16th. Before we begin, I'll read a statement. That is with great sadness and a heavy heart that I announce before our meeting begins that our dear friend and colleague, Mayor Steve W. Martin, passed away last night at home with his wife, Jennifer, by his side. Mayor Martin had requested that his long life friend and past mayor of Atascadero, Mr. Tom O'Malley, make a public statement on behalf of the Martin family. So, Tom, if you would, please.
Thank you. This is really a letter to the council. Steve wrote, last iteration was July 16th. I read it as he wrote. Paso Robles Council, Commissioners, City Staff, friends in the Chamber of Commerce, Paso Robles, Main Street, PRWCA, Hispanic Business Association, political colleagues, friends and supporters, people of Paso Robles. I've asked Tom O'Malley, a longtime friend and former mayor of Atascadero, to deliver this message. We worked together for 10 years when I served as the executive director of Main Street in Atascadero, then teamed up as Dos Alcaldes, the two mayors, to create a strong partnership between our cities. A partnership that continues to flourish with the support of current Atascadero Mayor Heather Moreno. For months, you have noticed my absence at meetings and public functions. As I prepared to resume the position of mayor for a third consecutive term, I learned that I had an aggressive form of cancer. Initial analysis indicated that surgery within a couple of months would probably cure me. Unfortunately, complications intervened, giving the cancer the opportunity to spread and become incurable. As I write this, I expect to have little time left in this world. I wish for everyone to know that I had no idea of what was happening in my body as I campaigned for office. If that was the case, I would never have run or would have dropped out of the race. I've made every effort to do my job as mayor while fighting this disease, attending in meetings virtually, receiving updates from staff, etc. What I have included in this note will fall far short of all I wish to say to you. I'm a man of two cities, having grown up in Atascadero and lived my adult life in Paso Robles. I'm a man of simple purpose, however, and that is to serve my North County community and treat everyone, supporter and detractor alike, with dignity, compassion, and respect. I trust I have succeeded most of the time. To those who feel I have failed, I ask your forgiveness. To those who now feel they may have wronged me, I offer my forgiveness. I face the future with regrets about all I leave unfinished. Spaceport, solutions for homelessness, serving as a board member for League of California Cities, Community Hospital Board, broadband access, and all the projects with our city's partners, committees, and community service organizations. I also face the future with wonderful memories of family, friends, and colleagues. I feel honored to have worked with such caring and competent council members and such talented and dedicated staff. I'm also humbled and thankful for the outpouring of support from so many who have wished me well, most not really knowing the challenges I faced. Thank you all for your love and caring. As a Christian, I move toward the rest of God's plan for me, even as I wave goodbye to everyone and everything. He has provided during my lifetime, including my wonderful, loving wife, Jennifer, my beautiful, talented, and accomplished daughters, Nora, Jamie, and spiritual daughter, Carrie, my sons-in-law, Todd and Paul, my grandchildren, Abigail, Stephen, Malcolm, Caleb, my parents and my brother and sisters, and my solid family of lifelong friends. I love you all and hope to see you all again one fine day. I thank Tom O'Malley for helping me share these thoughts. Serving as mayors at the same time was a luxury and a privilege. We were always good therapists for each other as we worked to make our cities even more beautiful and desirable places to live, work, and play, sharing a glass of Chardonnay along the way. Now, as always, I hold all of you and our community in my heart, urging you to let your differences be subordinate to your desire to care for one another. Remember to stay informed, stay involved, and stay strong, Paso Robles. God bless you all and farewell. Steve Martin, Mayor, City of Paso Robles.
Thank you, Tom. If you don't mind, we'll have a moment of silence for a few minutes for Steve. Thank you. So what I was thinking, what we do is maybe if we can have council make a statement, anyone who would like to say something here, and we'll open it up to Gregory, is also online. And then maybe we can, anyone that'd like to, from the public, say something, we can certainly spend a few minutes on that too. So, go ahead, want to start?
Thank you. I have to say that Steve and I were very close friends, not nearly as long as with Tom and his friends from Atascadero, who we went to school with, all the way back in high school. Yes. But in 1980, when I first came to Paso Robles, within a week of arriving, I had a job at KPRL, where Steve was one of my bosses, because I was in news and he was the news director. And I didn't do as much as he, but and it's very appropriate that this meeting is being broadcast on KPRL, because this is very important. I had the all-night shift originally, but still worked part-time at the news. And I had just crawled into bed one morning, and Steve woke me up. Actually, I hadn't even gotten to sleep yet. And he said, I need you to go to Morro Bay immediately. There's some things happening, you've got to cover it. And I arrived there with a whale watching boat, capsized, with our entire middle school aboard, or the graduates of that middle school. We covered it, and Steve did most of the work. I gathered the news, I phoned it to him, he recorded it, he edited it, he checked it, and he got it on the air. He got it on the air so effectively that it went national within an hour. It went international within 2 hours. And Steve is responsible for the only national major award that station has ever gotten, the Golden Mike Award, for his work on that particular story. And that's just one example of the so many, many things that Steve has accomplished through his many years. Tom didn't even mention any of his things. The touring band with Tom and Jerry Seebach, who were members, and they traveled the whole country, which is where he met his beautiful wife, Jennifer. And the rest of that story has yet to be finished by the remaining members. It's astounding that 3 children, young men now, older men now, from the same class at Atascadero High School, all went on to outstanding public service. 2 as mayors and 1 as the treasurer and controller of San Luis Obispo County. That's an amazing accomplishment for 1 class. My last meeting with Steve, after many, many meetings through 43 plus years that we knew each other was last Friday. And Steve knew very well that he had very little time left. But in the 20 minutes that he was able to focus, stay conscious and talk, not once did he talk about himself or ask for anything for himself. He talked about the city. He talked about the people of the city. And we should take care of each other. That was Steve. And I can't say it. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Chris? Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Julie and I met Jennifer and Steve fairly early upon coming to Paso Robles in the late 80s. Steve was full of energy. He was a kind man. As the years went on, we got to know each other. We discovered that we had children about the same age, so we had that in common. We'd go back and forth to the fair together, sharing different memories. Steve was always somebody that had an opinion that he would share with you and be articulate. He'd listen to your opinion first. And I think that's my fondest memory of Mayor Martin is his keen ability to listen, to synthesize what you said. If you were alone with him, you were the most important person in the room. If you were in a group of people with him, he could synthesize multiple opinions, recap everything at the end of public comment, we'll say, and get it right. May not agree with everything that he thought was right, but at the end of the day, you could always go and have a cup of coffee, have a beer with Steve and talk to him. And he was no hard feelings. He allowed you your opinion, and I will cherish that, try to emulate that. When I was first appointed to City Council back in September, we happened to go to Cal Cities right after that. And Steve made it a point to ask me to come down a little early and talk with him. And we spent about 3, almost 4 hours just talking about nothing, everything, life, family, Paso Robles. He wanted to make sure that I still cared as much about the city as he did. He didn't really tell me how to think, but he wanted to make sure that I cared. He was awfully caring, a man of integrity, a man of honesty, wonderful, gifted speaker, and a leader. So I will miss him very, very much.
Thank you, Chris. Councilman Gregory?
Yeah. Yes, Don, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Very good. So I want to start out by saying Steve is my friend, and he's our friend. He just did a great job of keeping conversations and issues in a friendly basis, and he's just a wonderful man. He continued to put his city and his family first in his life, and that never changed. He was an amazing, had great, amazing leadership skills during the meetings. He's able to swing things around, summate like nobody I've ever seen before. But the most important thing to me about Steve was that he cared. He cared so much about us. And regardless whether he agreed with the point being made, he just cared. He cared about civility. He cared about everybody in the room. He loved his family, and he loved doing what he was doing as a mayor. A lot of people never get to live that part of their life where they really find something that they like to do, like Steve did as our mayor. And Steve did a really, really good job. I had a lot of time with Steve, helping him and he helping me. But he brought more civility to my life than anybody I've known. And not that I'm uncivil, but he was just such a gentleman. And I really liked the way he treated us. I really liked and respected the way he treated his family and how proud he was of his daughters. And just a really good man. And it's not every day that you see a natural leader like Steve is, but in his absence, we're all trying to do the best we can, but I just miss that leadership. But I also miss the person and the summations and just his general caringness about our community. He was just a really good person and a great leader for our community. And he did there's not very many mayors that can do what he did. And he speaks well. He just follows through with everything. And it was a pleasure to work beside him and with him on so many very good projects. And I will miss him, and I wish him well. And my last thing I said to him was "Vio con Dios," my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. For us, Marjorie and I give our sincere condolences to Jennifer and the family. It's too soon to leave after all the work that he's done for our city and the county. It was an honor to work with him. His service was beyond reproach, and I learned so much from the man. It was very evident in all the decisions that he made of his love for the city and for others that were going to be involved on that decision. The thing I've been taught through my faith is that, we're only here for a short time on this earth. It's what you do with your life and how you serve others that is important. But the real goal is what comes after. And I know that right now Steve is probably up there listening to this, and I think he's probably already looking for a position on God's board. But he certainly deserves it, because I know that he's going to be looking down on us for a long time. So, fondest memory I had of him, it was so funny that when Marjorie and I we were receiving the Roblin of the Year, Steve came up within minutes upon presenting this to us, and he told me later about the scene from The Wizard of Oz and the Little Lollipop Guild. He came up to the mic and in that special voice did something that I'll never forget. And it's amazing. His talent was absolutely out of this world. So it's going to be a hard road to fill his shoes, which I know I can't. But if we in coming weeks figure out how we're going to move forward as a council, staff will be bringing up items that we can talk about and the public can get involved in. But for now, we're in mourning for Steve. And I know he's in a good place right now. Thank you. So for now then, is there anybody who's come to this that would like to say something? Please, we'll take a few minutes at the podium and say a few words for Steve's family.
My name's Dale Gustin. I'm currently on the board of the Main Street. And a lot of people don't know, when Steve was involved in Main Street, the Main Street of Paso Robles was acclaimed as the best Main Street program in the United States. And I thank Steve for that. I've known Steve since I came here in '79. I consider myself a good friend of him and Jennifer. We used to go caroling at Christmas time. And there was a lot of other personal things that we got involved in together. One of which was when the Methodist Church was damaged to the earthquake, they lost their pastor. Would you believe Steve stepped up and rotated to give a sermon, and he did an excellent job. So he was a man of many talents, but he really loved Paso Robles. And as Tom said, he was the liaison between Paso Robles and Atascadero, and we've always had a good relationship between the two cities, thanks to Steve.
Thank you, Dale. Ray Johnson.
Yeah, I'm Ray Johnson, the former mayor of Atascadero and the former president of the Economic Vitality Corporation. I knew Steve in both of those roles as we worked together and did a lot of things together back in those days. And his impact on Atascadero must be significant. There's 3 mayors here from Atascadero, a current one and a couple of old ones. I guess I'm the oldest of the old ones, but we worked with Steve. Steve was reliable. He was a professional. He always did his homework. There's an old Navy saying that he had a steady hand on the tiller. He always knew when he spoke the truth. He did his homework. He was easy to work with. He served well. He'll be missed both as a colleague, as a public servant, and as a friend. But I wanted to just comment from our side of the county that he served us in Atascadero well. You already heard about what he did there. And of course, he had Greyhound blood running through him.
Yes, he did. Thank you, Ray. Mayor Marino.
So I guess that makes me the youngest mayor.
Yes, it is.
Steve was first and foremost a friend. He was smart and, as many of you have said, so talented, humble. And he's the kind of person who makes me want to be a better person. I got to be part of those Chardonnay therapy sessions. And as much as I tried to be the Trace Alcalde, they kind of, no, it's the Dulce Alcaldes. But what I know of Steve is, one, he was a man of action. He didn't want to have a bunch of meetings and just go to another meeting and another meeting. And that's how we got some of the things going here in North County, because of that passion and enthusiasm for taking action that Steve had. And another thing to know about him is he wanted to make sure that and he said that in that final piece too, he didn't want our differences to be what divide us, but he was always about how do we bring our community together. And I will miss him. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Heather. Supervisor John Bashaw.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell you that Steve and I have known each other for a number of years, and as you know, we all ran against each other, and it actually was a very fun campaign because all the candidates were really nice people. We may not have agreed on every issue, but I want to say I debated Steve at least 12 times during that campaign, all over the county. And one of the things that I learned from him, and I try to learn something from everybody, was that he took action to make things happen. He didn't just let them happen. He made them happen. And it reminds me of a quote by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow that I use a lot, that we judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing, while others judge us by what we've already done. And I think today we can see all the things that Mayor Martin did. And I will keep his family in my prayers, and I am sure he is organizing in heaven right now.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Thank you. What we're doing with the city is working with the family. Everyone will be brought up to speed on what's going to be happening in days coming for some sort of memorial service for Steve. We're thinking probably in the park, but again, working with the family and what their wishes are. So we'll keep you informed as that moves forward. Thank you, everybody, for coming on this part of the meeting. Thank you. All right. So moving then to the initial call to order, I'll do that. And if you would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Bausch.
Please rise. Salute the colors. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Pastor Pat Sheehan
Please
for the
remain
invocation.
standing.
Dear Heavenly Father, it is with great sorrow that we stand before you today. Just to sum up what I'm feeling in my heart for everyone here is just North County is a better place because Steve Martin lived in it. We ask that you bless and comfort the family as only you can, Holy Spirit. Bring your comfort. Father, we pray your kingdom come and your will be done here in Paso Robles this evening as it is in heaven. We thank you for our elected leaders, Mayor Pro Tem Hammond, councilpersons Gregory, Bosch, and Strong. Fill them with the spirit of wisdom and revelation in every decision before them tonight. And Father, we ask your blessing and protection upon our police and emergency services personnel who bravely serve and protect us all. May your grace be upon our city staff to give them all they need to manage and care for the needs, many needs of our city. Lord, we thank you for your great blessings and love poured out on our city. This is evident by giving us such great leaders like Mayor Martin and those who are before us today. We ask all this in the precious name of your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll call, please?
Would you like me to read the hybrid notification? Would you like me to read the hybrid notification?
Oh, yes, I guess we need to do that. You bet. Thank you, Mary.
Sure. The city has returned to hybrid public meetings pursuant to AB 361, which allows for a deviation from the teleconference rules required by the Ralph M. Brown Act. Residents now have the option to attend the meeting in person or participate remotely. To participate remotely, residents can live stream the meeting at www.prcity.com/YouTube and call 805-865-7276 to provide public comment via phone. The phone line will be open just prior to the start of the meeting and remain open throughout the meeting to ensure the opportunity to comment on each item heard by the council. Written public comments can be submitted via email to cityclerk@prcity.com prior to 12 noon on the day of the city council meeting to be posted as an addendum to the agenda. If submitting written comments in advance of the meeting, please note the agenda item by name or number. Council meetings will be live streamed during the meeting and also available to play later on YouTube by accessing the following link, www.prcity.com/YouTube.
Thank you. Now we'll proceed with roll call.
Councilmember Bausch.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Strong.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hammond.
Here. Begin with staff introductions, starting with our Deputy City Clerk, Mary.
Mary Sponholz, Deputy City Clerk, joined by Shauna Howenstein, Civic Engagement Coordinator.
Warren Frace, Community Development Director.
Ditas Esperanza, Capital Projects Engineer.
Brian Cornell, Administrative Services Director.
Helika Fortin, Administrative Director. Peter Berman.
Mark Candalis, Airport Manager. Paul Sloan, Economic Development Manager.
Chris Hewat, Assistant City Manager.
Elizabeth Hall, City Attorney.
Great. Thank you, guys. All right. First on the agenda, we have presentations. Item 1 is going to be a Caltrans quarterly report. Gus Curry, is he going to be online?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first and foremost, my deep condolences to the council, the community, and family of Mayor Martin. I know that I'm a better person for having known him, and you'll be in my thoughts and prayers. It kind of makes my report a little irrelevant, I suppose, but I think in his spirit, we've got to march on and do the work that he would want us to do. And there's some news to report that could be of benefit to the city. The legislature just came back from its summer sabbatical, its recess. They'll work until September 14th before they adjourn for the year. They approved the fiscal year 23-24 state budget. And of note within the package is SLOCOG is going to be receiving about $33 million of transit and intercity rail capital program funding. This is significant because Member Strong and others would remind me that, we've been trying to get a stop along the Central Coast in the city of Paso Robles. And so this might be an opportunity, and working with the Coast Rail Coordinating Council and SLOCOG as our MPO to maybe make that a reality. And so there's some discussion about pooling some funds that the Central Coast is getting as a whole, which is roughly about $200 million to try to make a dent on that endeavor. Secondly, Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas from San Benito was sworn in as the 71st Speaker of the State Assembly on June 30th. It's significant because now you have a Central Coast member that's leader of the House there. We've been trying to work with him along with our legislative delegation, Senator Laird, Assemblymember Addis, to try and deliver on the overcrossing project over State Route 46 at Union Road. My understanding is that our environmental documents are in circulation. We had hosted the California Transportation Commission and Caltrans Director Tony Tavares back on May 5th. I think we left an indelible impression upon them as far as the importance of funding a project that helps to improve safety, facilitate goods movement, climate resiliency, and such, addressing mobility by disadvantaged communities. City Manager Lewis has been attending Transportation Commission hearings with me over the past several months. Public Works staff has been working feverishly in trying to aggregate as many letters of support from regional constituencies to build a case. And so we have a couple of opportunities here. The legislature does have a balance of funds that they might be able to draw upon here at the end of the year. And so, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll circle back with you and Public Works staff as far as how we can further that conversation with our delegation to try to fund this $52.5 million project. In addition, Director Tavares, Caltrans Director Tavares, had promised me that he would dedicate any resources necessary to bring this project to fruition. And so the Transportation Commission is going to be in the process, initiating the process for their Cycle 4 competitive grant submissions. And if they're able to sponsor the project, then that saves the city about $17 million of match funding. And then they would decide upon that within about the next 16 to 17 months as far as getting that project fully funded. And so lots of work to do. We look forward to working with you. And just one other side note, to try to enhance our efforts, I've brought on former California Transportation Commission Executive Director Mitch Weiss. He's now a part of the Corey Consulting team. And so we'll look forward to sitting down with Public Works staff as far as how we can further program and strategize to bring more resources to bear to the city. So I'm happy to stop right there and take any questions or comments that you or council members may have. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Gus. Councilman Strong?
I just congratulate Gus on getting Mitch aboard, because I think that is a tremendous advantage we have with Mitch. Mitch does know this project extremely well, and I think he's very favorably disposed to it. Thank you very much, Gus.
Councilman Belch?
No questions this time.
Thank you. And Councilman Gregory?
Yeah, Gus, that was a very good report. A lot of exciting things happening. So keep it up. Thank you.
All right.
Sure thing.
Gus, again, yeah, that's certainly coordinate with me and anything you need. We're going to be up there for the League of Cities meetings too, in the beginning of September. So anything you can do to put us all together, that would be great.
It would be my pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Gus. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Mayor, just real quick, just to add on to what Gus was talking about regarding the 46 East project. He mentioned that the environmental documents are out for public review, which is true. We actually will be hosting with Caltrans a public community workshop in this space Thursday night, 6 p.m. So the public is definitely encouraged to attend. There'll be a lot of information on the project.
Exactly. I was going to bring that up, Warren, because it wasn't on our schedule of events coming. So appreciate that. I was going to mention it too. Moving on then, we have Spaceport and Tech Corridor update, Paul Sloan, Economic Director, and Mars Candell, Airport Manager. Paul? Can we turn that mic on?
Can you hear me now?
It is.
Paul Sloan, Economic Development Manager. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here along with our teammates from Cal Poly to present you with an update on the Spaceport and Tech Park project. I thought it appropriate to say a word about Mayor Martin, who was in all ways at the very genesis of this project from the very beginning and their strongest champion and voice on that. You all knew him much longer time than I did. I had the privilege of working with him for the last 3 years since joining the city, and it was indeed a privilege. He simultaneously possesses a vision for the future, as well as a very personal understanding of our history here in North County, and that's a very valuable set of skills. I was trying to think of something to say about that, but with council's indulgence for just a couple minutes, I thought who better to introduce this subject than Mayor Martin himself in his own words.
Okay, for myself, it'll come as no surprise that I support this. Somehow that has seeped out. But in trying to step back from my initial excitement about this idea, because the initial excitement was spurred by the question in my mind of how the city of Paso Robles could benefit from the philosophy of economic development, regional economic development that is being supported so strongly, not just in this county, but the counties surrounding us and around the state. Counties working together to regionally develop economically rather than city by city by city. So the question in my mind was, how does Paso Robles do that? And a long story, if you can believe it, a longer story than you've heard tonight, made short, is that is our Paso Robles Airport, for all the reasons you've heard tonight. This is our contribution. This is the way we capitalize on the philosophy of regional economic development. Some of my earliest conversations were with the REACH organization because they're the ones who over the last 2, 3, 4 years have spearheaded this philosophy of regional economic development. But quite honestly, at times have grappled with exactly what does that mean? I mean, they're pretty words, but what does that mean? And I submit that a Paso Robles Spaceport is the very definition of regional economic development because it will benefit not only Paso Robles, but Atascadero and the other cities in San Luis Obispo County and Monterey County and Santa Barbara County. And it will list the assistance of all the allies that organizations such as REACH have worked to put together to make these things happen. We talk about funding sources. We talk about political leverage. We talk about all of this. That's what they've been working to put together for 4 years. And these are the tools that are available to us right now to make this happen. Many, many successes have happened in the community of Paso Robles. I never tire of bragging about our city when I'm at meetings outside of the city or with individuals that I've just met. And I could go on literally all night long, and usually do until somebody stops me. But in very macro terms, there are several basic, fundamental, significant transitionary moments in this city over the last 50 years. One is tourism. I've lived here since I was 3 years old, and I remember a day when if somebody said, you know, we could have tourism in Paso Robles, you got laughed out of the room. But the city of Paso Robles its wineries, its hotels, its businesses, said, you know what? We see a community that's ripe for this. We see an area of the state that's ripe for this, and we're going to invest in this, and we're going to make it happen, and they did. That was a transitional moment for the city of Paso Robles. Another transitional moment for the city of Paso Robles was in 1991, when the city council of that day updated the general plan for the first time in 20 years and had to wrestle with the questions of what is rural atmosphere? What is economic development? How do we balance growth versus quality of life? And came up with a plan that said, and its goal statement was, we will be the retail hub of the North County. There was a lot of laughter, but look around you. That's exactly what's happened. That was a transitional moment for the city of Paso Robles. Another transitional moment for the city of Paso Robles is when we said, you know what? We got a water problem here. And over a decade, the city of Paso Robles and its allies worked together to put together a portfolio of water sources, including groundwater, river water, Nacimiento Lake water, that assures us that we will have water through build-out in our general plan, something very few cities in the state of California can say. That was a transitional moment for the city of Paso Robles. I see Spaceport. If it becomes reality, and there are still a lot of questions to be asked, I see Spaceport as being a transitional moment in the city of Paso Robles, because if we're successful, we're going to greatly diversify our economy. We're still going to have the wonderful tourism, we're still going to have the wonderful quality of life, but we're going to have a diverse economy that'll be better able to survive the economic ups and downs of the markets as the days progress. We're going to have many more jobs of kinds that we've never seen before. We're going to have kids and grandkids that go to Cal Poly, and when they graduate, they get to live closer to home because they don't have to move out of state to find a job. And these are benefits that are going to accrue not just to the city of Paso Robles, but to all the cities and communities around us. So this is not a Paso Robles thing per se. This is regional economic development. I've taken it upon myself to reach out to a lot of the people that have been suggested tonight regarding partnerships and potential funding. Our governmental representatives at the state and federal level, the REACH organization, California Go Biz, the Chamber of Commerce. I've reached out to neighboring cities saying, this is a regional opportunity. Will you join us in this effort? It's the first issue I've ever been involved in where somebody didn't say, not interested. Once people get past the notion that we could possibly be doing vertical launch with great fireballs of exploding gas, to a horizontal launch, which is basically a jet takeoff and landing, and they see the potential for the attraction of economies and the growth of existing economies here in the city of Paso Robles, the light bulb goes on. And they're looking for ways to make this happen, because the return on investment on that hefty price tag we see in front of us tonight, the return on that investment is 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times over the years. And as far as funding sources, one thing that I witnessed when the city of Paso Robles said we're going to be the retail hub of the North County, all of a sudden businesses and industries that we had never heard from before were calling us on the phone saying, we hear you're going to do this. How can we be involved? I fully believe that's what's going to happen here as we move forward. We've already seen it happen. The first time this council discussed this subject, just as an informational item. Before the meeting started, Paul was getting phone calls from people who had seen the agenda posted around the country saying, what's going on in Paso Robles? What's Spaceport? When's that going to happen? That's going to happen. Those resources and those allies are going to come forward. I firmly believe that. I also firmly believe that in order for Paso Robles to inspire these people to be our partners, we have to be the leaders. We have to say, we're putting first skin in the game. We're not walking up to you with a tin cup going, can you give us some money? We're putting skin in the game to make this happen, and that's going to help make it happen. When I was speaking with John and Stu when they were putting their report together, they said, you know, we kind of need a vision statement. We need a mission statement. What are we calling this? And I said, you know, here in Paso Robles, we've got a strong, strong pioneer tradition. This is, I've said it over and over again, this is a can-do community. You know, don't tell Paso Robles it can't do something, because they'll do it just to prove you wrong. And I said, the mission statement for Paso Robles Spaceport is that the city of Paso Robles is pioneering the future of the commercial space industry, and we are working to reboot the relationship between the state of California and the aerospace business in this country. That's what we're doing here. And all the benefits that fall out from that are going to benefit us and all the people around us. So I am strongly in favor of moving ahead with the first phase as identified in the staff report, and then keeping watch on the type of information and the type of questions that pop up and the type of answers we receive, and using that information as guidance as we approach the second phase to see whether we're going there or not. And I think the stronger that we move forward, the more allies are going to come out of the woodworks to stand with us. So, end of speech. I would entertain a motion.
All right. Paul, that was amazing. That was
Steve, question on the motion. It says staff is looking for direction. So we'll go to phase 2.
There we go.
Okay.
So I would like to sincerely thank City Clerk Melissa Boyer, who dug that out of the archives so we could hear the mayor's voice on that subject.
Thank you very much.
The fact that she knows where everything is should frighten us all, because
that was the visionary leadership that was Steve Martin, and it was most appropriate. Thank you, Paul.
So real quick before I hand the microphone over to our Cal Poly colleagues, I wanted to just touch on some project milestones. In December, Council approved the agreement with Cal Poly to work on the preparation of the FAA Spaceport license application. In January, a non-disclosure agreement was signed with a horizontal launch company for access to technical data that Cal Poly needs for the Spaceport application. In February, Mayor Pro Tem Hammond led a delegation of city staff, along with there was a delegation from Cal Poly, to attend the FAA Commercial Space Transportation Conference in Washington, D.C. At the conference, Cal Poly met with the National Science Foundation, NSF, on a potential to have a workshop on the educational aspects of the spaceport, and that's a subject we'll be talking about in the future. We also had a chance to meet with the FAA's AST office, which is the office that actually issues the commercial spaceport licenses. In March, a draft airport layout plan was sent to the FAA in San Francisco, and then the airport was informed that a master plan update will be needed, and Airport Manager Mark Skandalis will be talking a bit on that just a bit. Also in March, the newly established testing site on the east side of the airport was used for micropropulsion rocket system testing as part of NASA's Artemis project to take humans back to the moon. In April, the Cal Poly team presented this project at the Cal Poly CubeSat Developers Workshop. In attendance at the workshop was the CEO of a Taiwan-based company that builds CubeSats. He was very intrigued by the project. He came up, visited Paso. We showed him around the tech corridor area in the airport. He spent quite a bit of time with the airport manager, and he subsequently submitted a letter of intent with his desire to establish his California operations here in Paso Robles. In May, a joint meeting was held with both the DC and San Francisco offices of the FAA, and Mark, the airport manager, will touch on why we are working with two different offices. Direction was given to us, but the next steps in this process will be to submit the airport layout plan and the ESP, which is an explosive site plan, which we'll talk about, for a conditional approval by the FAA. To that end, in June, we met with the ILS, which stands for Integrated Launch Solutions and Tata Engineering, as far as conducting the ESP study. And last month in July, we contracted with them to begin that, and that study will be completed in September. So that brings us up to date this year. And with that, it is my pleasure to bring to the microphone Dr. Elise St. John from Cal Poly.
Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, council members. My name is Elise St. John, and I'm with the Cal Poly Digital Transformation Hub. The work that we will present today results from the direct effort of the students here and also online. Each bring their diverse disciplinary expertise as well as their enthusiasm for the Paso Robles Spaceport and Innovation Technology Park. I'll now introduce you to Anmol Sharma, who has served as the program manager on the project. She and the rest of the team will share with you our work over the last 6 months, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about where we'll go next.
Thank you, Elise. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anmol Sharma. I am aerospace engineering major at Cal Poly and the student program manager for this project, responsible for overseeing the entire project with a particular focus on FAA license application process and supporting Cal Poly student teams alongside Elise. Our work focused on accomplishing 3 specific goals that I would like to outline for you. The first goal is the FAA license application, which involved identification and collaboration of Cal Poly and subject related matter experts to ensure the completion of application in a timely manner with the resources available to us. This is an important step in securing the license necessary to establish the spaceport. The second aspect of our work is to support the development of Paso Robles Space Innovation and Technology Park on the land adjacent to the Paso Robles Airport. In doing so, we have defined industry ecosystem and have identified businesses related to and supporting horizontal space launches. We are also working with the city of Paso Robles and Paso Robles Airport in developing branding and a new website. Last but not the least, we are doing research in education and workforce development needs related to horizontal space launches. In partnership with industry, our goal is to create a program that not only meets the needs of the industry, but also create opportunities for students like us, which can help us gain necessary hands-on experience and help us with our career. We are more than excited about this project, and we look forward towards the possibilities this can bring to us, and we're going to discuss the progress that we have made so far in the upcoming slides. Paso Robles Airport is designed for horizontal space launches, which utilizes a specialized aircraft called space planes, rather than a traditional rocket that you might have seen from Vandenberg. This specialized aircraft, or that we call space plane, would utilize the existing runways to take off, climb a certain altitude, and would land back, much like any other military or a private aircraft. At Cal Poly, we're incredibly enthusiastic about the potential it will bring to students for education and research. Many times, students like us create cube satellites only to graduate without ever witnessing their launch because we don't get the opportunity, or it's hard to get the opportunity to secure a spot at a commercial launch vehicle. And we are certain that this project will bring us the access that we need to turn our aspirations into reality. Now, I would like to hand it over to Lina, who would be talking about roles and responsibilities document that is necessary for the FAA application process.
Hello, council members. My name is Elena Felix. I am an undergraduate aerospace engineering student at Cal Poly SLO, and I am the research manager for the FAA license application. Today, I'm here to share important information about the launch site operator license, which falls under the 14 Code Federal Regulations Part 420. The application is divided into 4 parts, A through D, and I'll give you I'll briefly go through each section. In Part A, there's an overview of the application along with an application glossary found in 14 CFR 420.5, helping to clarify technical terms found in the application. This section sets the groundwork for clear and comprehensive understanding of the application process. Now in Part B, which forms the core of our application deliverable, it outlines the necessary criteria and information for obtaining the license. This section includes essential components such as detailed descriptions of the launch site layout, information about the proposed launch vehicle, an environmental assessment, and comprehensive safety regulations and protocols. The visual representation as showcased on the slide shows the collaborative efforts of all parties involved in this project, and is shown on the right-hand column. Moving forward, Part C outlines the terms and conditions of the license. While this section won't be applicable until the license is obtained, it details how the FAA will monitor compliance throughout the license durations, ensuring safety and regulations are upheld. Finally, in Part D, outlines the responsibilities of the license. Currently, Integrated Launch Solution is diligently working towards completing this section by September 30th of 2023. This part focuses on the safety measures associated with conducting launches and maintaining accurate records. And I'll go ahead and pass the torch to Logan.
Hello, my name is Logan Schwartz. I'm a computer science student at Cal Poly, and I'm in charge of mapping out the business ecosystem for the spaceport and corresponding technology park. Last time we were here, I had a similar mapping kind of showing the sectors and different industries that would play roles in the spaceport. And as we've been going through and talking to companies and finding players to fit those roles, the mapping has sort of changed a little bit. We are hoping to emphasize research and testing and a quick turnaround for launch at the spaceport, meaning that companies will be able to iterate through products quicker because it'll have an easy launch and landing solution. So 2 things I want to emphasize is, one, that many companies fit a lot of these different roles. They'll have portions of the company that will do mission design, but also portions that will do maintenance and repair. And another thing that I want to emphasize is that, for example, testing, one of the companies that we talked to was interested in having a vacuum chamber to test their propulsion, and that's a facility that can be used by many different companies and Cal Poly students in order to test their products. So while everything is separate in its own sectors, everything will also be working together. And as we continue to build relationships with the companies that we hope to fill in these roles, we will continue to explore those collaboration opportunities. Now I'll pass it to Miriam online to talk about the website and more.
Hi, my name is Miriam Gabai. I'm a graphic communications student at Cal Poly. My job on this project has been spearheading all of the communications, which has included developing the brand and all other marketing materials, some of which you can see on this slide is some collateral that we've developed for the CubeSat conference, which we attended in the spring. But the branding has really been an ever-evolving process, and we're just getting to see where the project takes us. We believe that it's really important to tell the full story of the role that Paso Robles hopes to play in the future of space technology and the impacts that it will have. If we could get to the next slide, please. Thank you. Another big part of the communication strategy for this project has been the creation of a website or a landing page that's going to be the main point of contact for this project. So far, we've spent a lot of time doing competitive analysis market research and analyzing other spaceport websites. We've learned that marketing a spaceport is very different than any other endeavors. There are only 14 other commercial spaceports in the United States right now, so there's not that much to go on. So on the left side of the screen, you can see the current new Paso Robles City website, which is currently hosting a landing page for our spaceport, and our goal going forward is to create a new website for the purpose of the spaceport and technology park that is still going to align with the city's style. The main content areas, which is the most important part of our website as a communication tool, is to include an overall background on the spaceport, including a history, timeline, and FAQs, any public relations related matters such as announcements and press releases. And most importantly, the goal of the website is going to be to highlight the opportunities that the spaceport will bring both to the residents of Paso Robles and to businesses in the outside world. We're very excited to share it with everyone when it's ready. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So the horizontal launch space industry is gaining global momentum. New jobs are being created and anticipated, yet little research exists to inform the development of new educational and apprenticeship programs to meet these demands. In response to that, Cal Poly is conducting an applied research study that focuses upon exploring the personnel needs in the horizontal launch space industry. The intent is to understand the types of skill sets and roles in demand and how our local education and workforce development responses may enable training of skilled talent and support job creation locally. We look forward to learning from our local education and industry partners and reporting back our findings to you in the fall.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, Mark Scandallis, Airport Manager, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure to work with Paul Sloan and the Cal Poly Group on this important project for the community and the county. They've shown the the great steps we've taken towards this project, and I'm here now to say what's next. How do we get there? How much is it going to cost? And how long is it going to take? So we've always had two parallel tracks. We've had the licensing track and the tech corridor development track. They are not mutually exclusive. If we run into a brick wall with a license, we're going to move forward with the tech corridor. We want to diversify our economy here in the North San Luis Obispo County. With the licensing track, though, we've gotten to here. You can see that we are here, arrow. Cal Poly has gotten us to the draft FAA application. They've also written a technical narrative as available for that. And they've done a very important step, which is to provide a roadmap for the next steps in this process. From here, Cal Poly will continue to work with the city on the tech corridor, building that ecosystem, going and finding websites and branding development for the tech corridor, providing education workforce pipeline study, and then facilitate the completion of the application as they can. But going back to the license, from here, we pass it along to a series of consultants. So in our meetings with FAA, we have San Francisco Airport District Office, and we have the office in Washington, D.C. called AST, which is the Commercial Space Office. In our meetings, they've told us there's two documents that we need to get done before we can move forward on any next steps. The first one is the explosive site plan. That sounds scarier than what it is. It is essentially, if you're bringing in new fuels to your airport, how are they going to integrate? Where are they going to be safely kept? How are they going to work at the airport? Currently, we have 20,000 gallons of Jet A, and we have 12,000 gallons of avgas. If we bring another fuel in, where's it going to go? How are we going to safely integrate into the airport? That's what the explosive site plan is. The Washington, D.C. office will review that explosive site plan and give us a conditional approval on that. The next thing that we need to do, the San Francisco office is in control of this one. It's the airport layout plan. The airport layout plan is a big giant map of the airport. It shows what we can do, what is grant fundable. It's a document that lasts about 20 years and it projects into the future what we'd like to do with our airport. Spaceport is now one of those things. We need to get it added onto our airport layout plan. So once we get those two complete, we'll submit them to the FAA, both Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. We'll get conditional approvals, and at that point, we have a council decision to make. Are we going to move forward and continue with this, or are we going to pivot onto something else? I hope we continue to move forward. At that point, we would start the environmental phase for the Spaceport application, and we would do back and forth with the Washington, D.C. office. They would work on our application, comment on it. We would address the comments. We'd go back and forth until we have a substantially complete document. At that point, we would turn in that substantially complete document to Washington, D.C. They would have a legal period of 180 days to review it. At the end of the 180 days, the environmental phase is expected to be completed. And at that point, we would be issued a Part 420 Spaceport license. Next slide, please. So that's how we get there. This is what it costs, estimates, and then we also have some timelines associated with it. So to date, with the Cal Poly contract, we've used $27,000 of that contract. That is about 25% of the previously appropriated funds by the council. From then, we move on to the explosive site plan. This is currently being worked on. It'll be done in likely in September of this year. That's going to cost $14,000 of previously appropriated funds by the city council, representing 12% of that account. For our airport layout plan, this is where there is a larger dollar amount, but it is largely grant funded. So airport layout plan is a component of the master plan for the airport. Master plan is that 20-year planning document. Our last master plan was done in 2004. It is 20 years old. We are due for another one. It is eligible for grant funding. It is about $550,000 for that, but it is a reimbursement grant. And I do have it programmed in our capital improvement program for next year, 23-24. This is a reimbursement grant. If the council does choose to do so, we can start ahead of getting the grant. And then we can reimburse ourselves when the FAA releases the funds. They expect to release the funds for 23-24 and mid-year 24, but we could start on this when we choose to do so. Kaufman Associates is a environmental and planning consultant selected by the airport to do our environmental planning for the airport. We also have Tartaglia Engineering, our engineering firm. they would be working on that master plan update. Components of that master plan update are taking inventory of what's happening at the airport, all of the buildings on the land side, all of the buildings on the air side, giving projections for traffic counts 20 years in the future and what kind of buildings that we would need to add on to the airport to make those a reality. We would forecast all of the traffic counts that we're expecting so the FAA can put into their projections and their budgeting for 20 years out for our airport. There would be facility requirements associated with those forecasts. There would be a recommended development concept. This is all a public process, so we would bring in groups from the community to really think about what we want to do to our airport. There's an environmental component, so we would do some environmental on portions of the airport that we see as developable. So when the end of this master plan comes up, we can start to market those and the environmental's done and it's easy to start building on it. And then the last portion of that master plan is the airport layout plan. It says what we can do at the airport. The San Francisco District Office approves that document. And again, this is a grant-funded project. So to date, we spent $27,000 with Cal Poly, $14,000 on the explosive site plan, and the rest will likely be grant-funded. Timelines on these things, we're working on the explosive site plan now. The master plan, we can start when we choose to do so. If we accept the grant, it would likely be middle of next year. It's a 15 to 18 month process to go through that, but when we're done, we'd be able to turn that into the FAA. So with that, next slide. Yeah, with that, I just want to wrap it up by here's the team, all the students at the top. Some of them are alumni and some of them are here tonight. Then we have the professors from Cal Poly Digital Hub, Digital Transformation Hub, and of course, Paul Sloan and myself from the airport. And we're happy to take any questions you may have at this point. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, Mark. Questions of anybody on the board here?
My only question is, how are you getting all this done so fast? You're doing great. Thank you.
Well, they got a lot of eager students, that's for sure, too. Christopher.
Mark, great presentation. And students, thank you very much. Great presentation. It's nice to see the progression. It's coming along, as Fred said, very quickly, so great. Who would be providing the grant funding?
That would be the FAA. We do have that programmed in our FAA's. We have a 5-year grant program, and that's funded for next year, or program for next year.
So that's pretty automatic. Don't have to worry about them reneging on that grant funding?
No, since we are 20 years old on our master plan, they are wanting us to update it ourselves. They want you to look at it every 7 to 10 years, and we're due for a new master plan.
Great, thank you.
Kind of like the general plan for the city too, same thing. You got to have to look at it every once in a while. Thank you. Councilman Gregory.
Yeah, I just had a timing question. So is this the new plan would be part of the Spaceport licensing process?
So I'm not understanding the question.
So is that something that needs to be completed for us to move ahead with the Spaceport licensing?
So the airport master plan is something that we're supposed to do every 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We're at the 20-year mark. So that needs to be done regardless, which is why it's already included in the CIP plan or the CIP plan. So that would happen either way. There's a portion of it that will relate to the spaceport, and then the whole thing will, then the airport layout plan is part of the FAA application.
Yeah. So I didn't mention this. The airport needs a master plan regardless of the spaceport or not. We need a master plan.
Right.
Spaceports are not currently fundable through the grant funding program, so we will need a chapter on spaceport. That'll likely be about $50,000, self-funded by the airport or the city. So that master plan will include a spaceport chapter if we choose to include it.
And that's reflected on the previous slide. You saw there was the 550, and then there was the 50,000 up at the top, up here by Kaufman and Associates.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, Mark, my question is basically is that, with the students and the staff from Cal Poly taking this on, it's saving the taxpayers a lot of money and also gaining experience for all the students in their careers in the future. What is the initial plan for submission to FAA, about approximate time frame? What is the thought here, timing?
Well, we do need those conditional approvals, the explosive site plan and the airport layout plan. Explosive site plan, we will turn that into Washington, D.C. when it's done, get their comments on it. And then the master plan, we will start that as soon as we are able to and turn it in as soon as we can. We will have dialogue along the way with San Francisco, and we'll keep you guys up to date on that timeline.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, this is, again, another vision for Mayor Martin. We will make this happen, Council. It is important that we continue this effort that Steve started, and we will get there. Thank you very much, Mark. And thank you, students and staff, for coming tonight. Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Dale Augustin again. In high school, I was very interested in aeronautics, and I didn't go down that path. I became an attorney. But one of my first clients when I came to Paso Robles was Bill Brooks, who had an airline, Golden Carriage Air, at this airport. And I could see the future for this airport. Well, we didn't keep the airline here, and San Luis got the regional airport. But I still believe in this airport. Chuck Miller was a good friend, Roger Axborough was a good friend, and now Mark is picking up along with Paul. And this is a project that I think this airport is well adapted to take on and be successful at. Good luck.
Thank you, Dale. Anyone else? Very good. We'll close that, and then we'll move on to general
Mayor
public.
Pro Tem, it appears we have on-call person.
Do we have anybody online?
Yeah, we have someone online.
Okay, Mary, go ahead.
This is going to be Joel Peterson.
Joel?
Is there a lot of callers? Yes. Yes.
Go ahead, Joel.
I just wanted to
Joel?
Passing a mayor. Yes, sir.
I think we've lost you there.
Can you hear me?
No, we could not. If you want to start over.
Okay. Sure. I'm just wanted to express my support for this project, but also more than anything, just my condolences on the passing of Mayor Martin. He was a great leader, a great man. And I knew him for 20 years, like many of you guys did, and he led with grace. He led with confidence. He led with optimism, and the city will certainly miss him. He was a great, great man, and I just think we need more people like that in our city, and he's certainly an inspiration to us as we go forward.
Very good. Thank you, Joel. Anyone else online? Are we good online?
We're good.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Moving on then to general public comments. This is the time that the public may address the council on items within the council's purview that are not scheduled on our agenda tonight. All persons wishing to speak on the agenda are asked to fill out a speaker card, approach the dais, and you have 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to speak? Dale, go ahead.
I just briefly want to remind everyone about the parking ad hoc meetings on the 21st at 2 p.m. and on the 28th, I think it's at 3 p.m. So if anybody has any comments or interest in the downtown parking, please come and tell us what your views are.
Thank you.
It'll be in these chambers.
Yep. We have our youth commission. Welcome. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Kalani Gaviola, and I'm speaking on the behalf of the Paso Robles Youth Commission. I'm here today with fellow commissioners Easton and Diego, and I'm excited to announce the opening of the new Paso Robles Teen Center at Centennial Park next Monday, August 21st. This center will be a place for teens grades 6 to 12 to gather, play, snack, and exercise after school until 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Through our efforts, we wanted to facilitate a sense of community and fun, as well as giving local teens a safe space to go after school. This has been one of the Youth Commission's biggest priorities following our revitalization last year, helping decide what games and activities to host, decor and food to buy, and more, even helping repaint the facility a couple weeks ago. Seeing our efforts come to fruition has been a truly satisfying experience, and we will continue to monitor the Teen Center and make improvements as needed. We thank the City Council for their support and hope to see anyone interested at the grand opening next Monday, August 21st from 2 to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Anyone else speaking from the public? Very good. We'll move on then to agenda items to be deferred. Assistant City Manager, do we have anything that needs to be deferred?
No, Mayor Pro Tem, but I would like to note on item 4 that we need to make a note that the year in which we are asking for a designation of voting delegates and alternates is 2023, not 2021.
Right, we had a misprint, looks like. We'll correct that on the motion. Thank you. All right, so we're moving on then to consent calendar. These are items that are designed to be run through without a whole lot of discussion. Any council member wishing to pull an item to be discussed can certainly do so, or the public can do that. So moving forward then, anything from council that they'd like to talk about or pull?
Do we need to change that on number 4? Do we need to formally change the date, or did that cover it?
Well, yeah, maybe Elizabeth.
We're covered as city manager, assistant city manager, you had indicated, so
right.
I think you could just move the agenda.
Made the correction on item 4. Okay. And Councilman Gregory, do you have any questions on the consent?
This time, thank you.
Okay. These are items then, anyone from the public that would wish to have anything pulled? Seeing none. Items 1 through 7 then, if we have a discussion and or motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Strong.
I would move the consent agenda as amended by the staff.
Second.
So we have a motion by Strong, second by Bausch. Any discussion? We'll call for the question then, Mary.
Councilmember Strong.
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch.
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hammond.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on then, we'll have a report on the items that we just voted on. Chris Hua.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Item 1 was the approval of the minutes from your meeting on August 1st. Item 2 was receipt of advisory body minutes specifically for the library board, that a meeting that was held on July 13th, 2023. Item 3 is the reaffirmation of the resolution that allows for the remote and or hybrid and in-person public meetings as required by the state of California. Item 4 is the designation of the voting delegate and alternates for the upcoming League of California Cities annual conference that the council will be attending. Item number 5 is the receipt of the warrant register for the last period. Item number 6 is the approval of the general obligation bond tax rate for the fiscal year, which was set at 0.345 per $100 of secured assessed valuation. And then item 7 is related to the realignment of South Vine Street and the work that's going on over there. This is the payment to PG&E to install streetlights for that project, since they will own and maintain those streetlights. So that concludes those items that were approved on the consent calendar.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Moving on to discussion items. Item 1, approval of application for the California Community Resilience Center Grant Program. And Helka, do you have that report?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. Before my report, I just wanted to share my appreciation for Mayor Steve Martin. He was a visionary and inspirational leader. I had the benefit of learning from him and serving under him. He was a champion of our library. He was very instrumental with the construction of this building. and I'm happy to share potentially a new vision today. And on behalf of the Community Services Department and myself, I would like to share our condolences to his family.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight with you to share with you a quickly growing approach to creating more resilient communities. Increased climate emergencies have resulted in the need to build infrastructure to support the community through extreme weather conditions, including cold, flooding, heat, and fires, all of which are too familiar in our own community. In response, grant funding has become available through the California Strategic Growth Council to develop community resilient centers throughout the state. Community resilient centers provide year-round opportunities to build healthy social infrastructure to serve vulnerable populations, improve equity, and assist with the ramifications of climate change and respond to emergencies and disasters within our community. When integrated with services like libraries and recreational facilities, they offer a more productive space to be used during climate events than traditional evacuation and cooling centers. Also, because libraries and recreation facilities are trusted community-serving institutions, people are more likely to evacuate to such locations during an emergency. As the city continues to consider library expansion and recognizes the need for updates to the aging library and recreation facilities, the Community Resilience Center Program grant offers a unique opportunity to conduct a feasibility study to determine if Centennial Park would be suitable as a centralized joint-use library, recreation, and community emergency facility. As the city expands to the east, Centennial Park is strategically positioned at a more central location in our community, making it more accessible as it is near most schools and major roads. To be clear, this would not be a second library. Rather, it would replace the existing facility and incorporate all of the amenities needed to create a strong community hub. Together, the library and recreation services already provide year-round activities that strengthen our community and build resiliency. In addition, library and recreation staff serve as the care and shelter branch during emergency activations, providing support for the establishment of evacuation and cooling centers. Centralization of space would create a natural facility and staffing efficiency. The required square footage each facility needs to operate together as compared to what they would require operating independently could be reduced. Several city-owned facilities have been identified as potential emergency response sites, including Centennial Park, the Senior Center, and council chambers. While all are functional, none of them have been fully developed as dedicated sites and lack some of the amenities that would make it site ideal. This includes storage space for emergency supplies, pet-friendly areas, sufficient shower facilities, a care room for basic first aid, generators. Having such a facility with trained staff on site would improve response times for the establishment of evacuation and community emergency resources when emergencies arise. The current round of Community Resilience Centers program funding provides up to $500,000 for planning projects that includes feasibility studies that incorporate robust community engagement. Eligible applicants must provide year-round community services that incorporate resiliency and preparedness activities, and the site developed must be available to serve as an evacuation or emergency center during emergencies. A local match is not required, and there's no commitment to construct any new facility or expand programming if awarded a planning grant. The concept has been shared with the Library Board of Trustees, the Friends of the Library Foundation, and the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. These groups have shared their support in investigating this option for the development of quality of life services in Paso Robles. Staff's recommendation tonight is that you authorize the city manager to provide a letter of commitment to proceed with the study for the submittal of a State of California Community Resilience Center program grant planning application for up to $500,000. This letter is required as part of the application packet.
Conclusion
I'm ready for
report.
questions.
Okay, very good. Questions of Angelica? Councilman Strong?
Okay, so this can include both existing facilities as well as possible new or additional facilities.
This grant would allow us to
plan
for a potential joint use facility. So that would include library and recreation, and that could potentially be new facilities, but it would be an alternative plan to building out library services here downtown.
Very good. And do we have Do we know that we have enough open space over there in Centennial Park to accommodate the potential additional areas?
That would actually be part of the feasibility study and why we would be asking to submit an application for feasibility versus implementation or development.
You don't have a thumbnail idea?
I think we're pretty hopeful. I think in speaking with our Public Works Director and our Community Development Director, we feel that we may be able to accommodate this.
Very good, thank you.
Some of the facilities would be shared. So for example, we have a gymnasium at Centennial that could be used for potential evacuation. So there's definitely going to be some discussion regarding the types of facilities needed to make each operation successful. But again, some of those amenities would be shared, which would help us with square footage.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Belch.
Thank you. So great report. Thank you very much. I learn more every time I see it.
You've seen it 3 times, I think.
The couple questions. One, and I think I shared one of these with you, just for public. Some of the buildings at Centennial may be in need of upgrading, so hopefully the study would look at that.
Correct.
And just to address those issues, just going forward. Hopefully the study would look at what would happen in the term. Most of the climate events that we're going to experience, like the rain, for example. So those are relatively short term. I don't know if earthquake constitutes climate or not, but say that we had a major earthquake and the Resiliency Center would be put into service for that. Would the study also address what would happen to the existing services that would be displaced in the case of a long-term event?
I think we can take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think just because the grant is focused on climate emergencies, the goal really is any emergency.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Gregory, do you have any questions for Angelica 14?
Yes, I do. Just a couple. So, Angelica, thank you for the report. I have a couple of questions, and I'm sure that the planning document will help us understand this. But if we were to build such a large facility at Centennial, will it look into how we transition to that new facility? How do we keep existing services going for our citizens and things like that?
The feasibility study is really designed to let us know whether or not the project has legs, right? Can we actually do this? I think it may be in development or when we get to design, we could address those issues.
Okay, and so because it sounds like a sizable facility that we're developing or
right.
making Centennial bigger and better, which I'm not against. I think it's a very interesting idea because I'd rather see money spent on new construction. I just wanted to, so I'll just wait till the feasibility comes out. In the feasibility study, it'll tell us to what extent we can develop at Centennial, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and will they be considering other locations or is that just for Centennial?
Currently, we're considering Centennial. Yeah, the grant requires us to submit one location. Centennial is centrally located. It's city-owned property. And we do recognize that Centennial actually was built before this facility. Both facilities are in need of quite a bit of service. They both have quite a bit of deferred maintenance needs.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to the report.
Thank you, Steve. And Helga, my question is basically is that, if we approve this commitment, what is the time frame to get the study together and submitted?
We would know if we receive the grant by the end of this year, and then we have 2 years to complete a study.
I see. Okay. And then if the grant does come a Paso Robles way, what is the value or what's the size of something like that we could possibly realize?
The size of the grant or the facility?
Yeah.
The grant is up to $500,000,
mm-hmm.
which we think would, we're still getting quotes, but we think that will cover the cost. There's no match.
Okay.
So
right.
We would be applying for the maximum amount allowable.
That's what I thought. Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I had. I'll open it up then to the public. Anyone wishing to have questions here? Seeing none. Anyone online, Mary?
No, sir.
Very good. Okay, then I'll bring it back to council for discussion and or action.
I'd like to move K1 forward. Authorize the city manager to provide a letter of commitment to proceed with the study for the submittal of a State of California Community Resilience Centers Program grant planning application for up to $500,000.
I'll second for discussion.
Very good. Second for, first by Bausch, second by Strong. First discussion, go ahead.
Yes, and in discussion, I'd like to say that in looking at the legacy and heritage of our deceased mayor, he always looked to the future on everything. And the only way to know how to prepare for the future is to study it and look into the potential and the possibilities. And this is right in that spirit. Under his leadership, in part, and others, not him alone, but he gets his share of the credit. We have this building. We have Centennial Park. We have the Senior Center. We have the Veterans Facility. We have the improvements to the bridge on 13th Street. We have new parks. We have so many things that were planned because we weren't afraid to ask. And I can't neglect our utilities. We have a new water plant. We have a new sewer plant. And those were things that were kicked down the road for decades until they became so expensive that it became absolutely imperative. We had to do it then. So this is really good thinking ahead material. Thank you.
I agree. Again, I think, when we apply for grants like this is tax dollars that we all have put into Sacramento. And if we don't ask for it back, someone else is going to get it. So certainly we want to see Paso benefit, and I'm certainly in favor of it. So we have a motion and a second.
It's just Councilman Strong's comments inspired, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, and Elizabeth, keep me in check, but it might be something good to consider on the eve of, when we're talking about Mayor Martin, maybe consider naming the Resiliency Center in his honor.
Possibly. We can get to that one.
We'll get there.
When we have the study complete.
Yeah, there's things that we'll be talking about for sure on that. So, okay. No further discussion. Councilman Gregory, any discussion on the motion?
No discussion. Thank you.
Okay, we'll call for the question, Mary. Thank you.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hammond?
And aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, and an honor to present on this topic on this night.
Thank you, Angelica. All right. We'll move on then to City Manager Report. Assistant Manager Chris Huot. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. In lieu of a traditional update, just wanted to again express condolences and thoughts for the Martin family from our team. And I know City Manager Lewis wanted to be here tonight, could not be here tonight, but sends his condolences and thoughts as well. And we look forward to the coming weeks and months where we get to celebrate his life and the contributions he's made to the city. So look forward to that. Thank you.
All right. Moving on then to council business and committee reports. Who would like to start? Brett?
Well, I'll start, but actually, in light of the situation tonight, I'm going to be very brief. We've had a lot of meetings, and most of them have been represented here tonight one way or another. The Youth Commission meeting was represented by the Youth Commission itself as to the main things that occurred. We've had groundbreakings for new residential construction, 2 projects for the low and moderate income, which are extremely important and required by the state. And look like they're going to be very good, modern, great facilities that will accommodate those people that really need it. So at the regional level, we have completed the regional housing and infrastructure plan, and it speaks to those very same things and some of the actual rents that can be charged in those areas. And I urge everybody to go online and take a look at the Eco Northwest Regional Housing and Infrastructure Plan, working with the market, right? And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Fred. Chris Boucher.
Thank you. Attended, just sort of observation, the school board meeting that they had on August 7th to discuss what's going on at the 36th Street campus. Wish school board lots of wisdom in how to handle that one. Attended the Paso Robles Housing Authority board meeting. Got an update on Riverwalk Terrace and Sunrise Villas we saw tonight. It looks like they're about 5% complete on the sewer for Sunrise and about 15% complete on Riverwalk. So looks like everything is very full, just again showing the need for additional housing. Attended the Library Board of Trustees meeting. Congratulations to the new folks that were sworn in. Congratulations to for the winemakers, the Rotary Winemakers Cook-Off, that very well attended event.
Yes.
Just a great service to the community. So thanks to the Rotarians for putting that on. Senior Center Advisory Committee on Monday. They've got a barbecue coming up in October 7th. They're going to be looking for some assistance on raffle prizes. So if anybody has any good ideas for that, please get in touch with the Senior Center. Parks and Rec meeting didn't come off yesterday, unfortunately. We had a downtown Main Street Association board meeting last night. Lots of changes going on. They have a Taste of Downtown event coming up as well. Sunrise Villas groundbreaking, as Fred mentioned. And finally, in closing, just reminders, we heard earlier that we have a ribbon cutting for the Teen Center on Saturday, and we have a parking ad hoc committee meeting this coming Monday, August 21st at 1:00 p.m. here in Chambers. That's my report.
Got it. And Councilman Gregory.
Yes, thank you, John. We had a ad hoc meeting for the parking back on, I can't remember the date of the 4th, whatever it was, and we're continuing on with 2 more meetings on the 21st and the 28th. Also, I got a meeting with John Pashong, our supervisor, and covered lots of ground there. Mostly, I just wanted to send my condolences to Steve Martin's family, and I'm sure we're already doing it. If not, we're already doing it. I'd like to, close this meeting in Steve's honor, but I just like everybody to remember his positivity and his friendly, and how much he cared about us as a town. So
very good.
Mr. Mayor, one more item.
Fred, go ahead.
That we also lost a former city manager, Don Kiefer, in the last week.
Yes.
So I would hope we would include him in closing the meeting in honor of him.
I'll give you the opportunity here in a few minutes after we go ahead and do the upcoming events. So let me go ahead and run that through. Coming up, we have Supplemental Sales Tax Oversight Committee, August 16th at 5:30. The Paso Robles Housing Constraints and Opportunities Committee is going to be on August 17th at 1 p.m. One thing they didn't put down here, too, was Congressman Panetta's office is going to be opening for the first time Thursday, the 17th at 5 p.m., I believe it is. And so anyone wishing to go through and congratulate him for coming to Paso Robles and put an office here, that'd be great. Public meeting is going to be on the 46 East Union Road intersection improvements. That's going to be here in this room at 6 p.m. on that Thursday, August 17th. We have then the Teen Center ribbon, which is what Chris just said, ribbon cutting Saturday, the 19th at 10 a.m. Then we also have the Teen Center grand opening on Monday, August 21st at 2 p.m. Paso Robles Parking Ad Hoc Committee, which was recognized tonight again at Monday the 21st at 1 p.m. in this room. We have also the public, our Paso Robles Development Review Committee for August 21st, 3:30. Planning Commission also is going to be August 22nd at 6:30. We have also the Airport Commission coming up next week on the 24th, Thursday evening, out at the terminal, 6:30. Paso Robles Parking Ad Hoc Committee is going to be meeting again on the 28th at 2 to 3:30. And then the last one's going to be the Paso Robles Developer Review Committee. Again, it's going to be August 28th. One other thing, Wine Direct groundbreaking ceremony is going to be coming up Tuesday, the August 21st or 29th at 3:30 Airport Road. And then we have the notice that our Paso Robles City Hall is going to be closed, of course, for Labor Day. That's Monday, September 4th. And we will have a meeting on the 5th. Paso Robles City Council meeting is going to be meeting on September 5th back here at 6:30. So with that, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adjourn this meeting in honor of Mayor Steve Martin and former City Manager Don Keefe.
Second.
Most appropriate. Thank you, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is closed. Well done, Fred. That's good.